friends, it's Benita. And before we get into this week's episode of Laid Off to Lift Off, I just want to take a quick second to say thank you. Thank you for being here. I started this podcast a year after my own layoff. I wanted to share my story, where I was in that moment, and the advice I wish I had. I didn't know if anyone would listen, but now it's a space where real people share their stories too. Because a layoff isn't just about losing a job. It's the loneliness, the loss of community, the loss of value, and the uncertainty of what's next. This show exists to share different paths and different stories of resilience, so you know there's a way through. If this resonates with you, all I ask is for you to please hit that subscribe button today and share it with someone who might need it. That could be a friend, a family member, a colleague, someone in their own in-between season. This is a one-woman show, and that one share makes all the difference. All right, let's get into this week's episode. Hi, I'm Benita, and this is my podcast, Laid Off to Lift Off. On today's episode, I am so happy to chat with someone who I recently connected with on LinkedIn. Her name is Heidi Kent-Mack. She's a speaker and emerging author focused on resilience and intentional rebuilding after career transitions. Through her work, she helps people navigate layoffs and uncertainty with a practical framework centered on recovery, reflection, and redesign. Her approach combines real-life experience with clear, actionable strategies to help people move forward with confidence and purpose. Welcome, Heidi.
Thank you so much, Benita. I'm so excited to be here.
I am so excited to have you. We connected on LinkedIn through, I really don't remember who connected us, but we met on LinkedIn and we finally chatted online and got to know each other. We are more alike than different, to be quite honest.
Soul sisters, for sure.
And it was just so easy to talk to you. So I'm very, very happy we are now connected. So like all the other episodes, pretty much, we start with your layoff story and the day it happened. So tell us.
Yes, absolutely. That fateful day. So, I would say my layoff story, I would hope that more people feel this way, but I kind of felt it coming. So I had seen, just in previous layoffs that had happened throughout our department, how peer engagement changed. And so I felt like when I started to notice that for myself, I was like, ooh, like maybe this is coming. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I worked for our chief human resource officer. So she was an immensely busy woman. So when I got a ping on Teams saying like, hey, she wants to meet with you for 30 minutes, I was like, spidey senses are tingling.
Yep.
But I just had a sense. And so I went and I was sitting at a desk. It was post-COVID era, so I didn't have a ton there, but just kind of packed my stuff up. And I'm a little bit sarcastic and silly. I remember walking up and leaning against the door and saying to my boss and then also to one of my fellow HR leaders, why do I feel like this isn't going to be a great conversation for me?
Oh.
And they were so gracious and just the nice, bringing me in. But one of the things that I think makes my situation so unique is that while they're explaining my layoff to me, of course, the feelings of fear and some of that panicking happened. But in the back of my mind, I was actually kind of excited. And I remember telling myself in the moment, don't smile. You should not be smiling. Right. I'm why am I really jazzed about this? And so I remember, handing my things over and leaving the building, and I wanted to take just a minute. And so I turned around and I looked at the building, and I remember just feeling this immense sense of gratitude.
Wow.
And feeling like I can choose right now. This is the last day I'm ever going to walk through these doors. I can choose to be excited and grateful for the opportunities this gave me, or I can be really sad and scared just due to all of this change. And I decided to really lean in to being grateful and excited. And I feel like that really propelled me into how I kind of built that framework and just the interactions I then had after this huge transition I remember calling my husband in the car and being like, hey, just want to let you know, I just got laid off. And I remember him like being like, why do you sound so happy? I'm like, I don't know. There are three things I'm doing today when I get home, and I'm signing up for LinkedIn Premium.
Mm.
I'm updating my resume, and I'm going to create a list of all of the people that I admire, that I've worked with in my past, or that I've known that I want to reconnect with. And I really used that energy from that day to kind of propel myself forward so that I could plan and hold myself accountable
Hmm.
in all the right ways to get me where I needed to be, but then also making sure that I had time for mental health in there as well.
I love that perspective because as you were
Yeah.
talking, I was reflecting on my situation too. And the moment you said you got a Teams message, I'm like, I got a Slack message to
Yeah.
go to my boss's office. And I thought I was going to get a promotion, not a layoff notice. And so like your situation was very different from mine and just
Yes.
how you came about to it. You were thinking, don't smile. I was thinking, don't let them see you cry.
Yes.
But it's just so refreshing and you don't typically hear the sense of relief side
Right.
to it that you had. So I love that you took a moment to look at the building, appreciate what you had,
Yeah.
and then take that moment to do three things. You weren't just going to dive in and apply,
Right.
apply, apply really quickly,
Mhm.
but you actually made time to decide to not be overwhelmed by next
Right.
steps.
Yeah. Absolutely. And like I said, I mean, I think my situation was so different because I felt like it was coming.
Yeah.
I think for people where it's a total surprise, I really feel like this framework could help set people up for that when that time, if it ever does come, you can feel a little bit of that relief as well because you
Hmm.
at least know next steps. You're at least somewhat prepared for it. And I think that's the benefit that I had in that situation.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So, what happened in the next couple weeks after?
Yes. So, really during that time, I created a plan and I really wanted to focus on building a routine for myself
Mhm.
and making sure that if I had been in the office or working, like that was still my window of work. Like that was still what I was doing, but the
Right.
work I was doing was just very different. I also made sure that I was thinking about ways of accepting the things that I actually could control. Like being let go, like I couldn't control that, but I could
Right.
most certainly control, who am I having coffee with?
Yeah.
Who am I talking to on LinkedIn? What networking groups were I getting involved with?
Yeah.
And there were like so many fun things that I found out I could take advantage of,
Yeah.
for some conferences. I just would simply reach out and be like, hey, I'm in between roles right now. Is there any chance that I could still come to this? And they're like, yeah, come for free. And
Nice.
it was so nice because then I also got to see my peers again and meet up with people who knew of opportunities
Yeah.
that were going to be posted soon.
I
So
think too,
that
like
was
people
great.
just don't ask for things.
Right.
And if you don't ask, you're not going to get it. Right. So, like, if you don't
Mhm.
reach out to someone that you want to chat with, they're never going to know that you want to do
Exactly.
that. Or even reaching out to go to conferences and such. There are so many free things, by the way, out there
Yes,
that people can take advantage of
there
that
totally
are
is.
posted regularly on LinkedIn or other social media platforms that I go to all the time. Like people have free training sessions. Yes, they try to sell you at the end, but attend their 1 hour free session. You never know what you might get out of it.
Absolutely. I totally agree. I think really just like taking that moment to think about what you want next.
Yeah.
It gives you that time and like think through some of those free engagements. Like you learn too all
Mhm.
of the things you hadn't had a chance to focus on because you were so busy, in your
Exactly.
full-time job or whatever it might have been.
Yeah. So, how did you protect your mental health situation? Did you ever have a moment where you're like, I know you were relieved, but were you
Yeah.
ever like anxious in between looking for a job?
I would lie if I said I wasn't.
Hmm.
But I am one of those like weird people who finds true joy out of applying for jobs. Like, I love updating a resume. I love interviewing. Like, I am one of those weird people. So for me, it was like kind of fun. But
Okay.
I most certainly like I had for sure a plan. Like, if after 3 months I don't have something, what are we gonna do?
Right.
What are we, what if we don't have anything in 6 months? And so I for sure had a plan
Okay.
in place, but I felt like just kind of the steps I used in just keeping that kind of structure and thinking about what is it that I want? So, really, like taking that time to reflect on I had this job title, but what skills did I use
Yeah.
that I was good at that I want to bring into that next job? And so, I do feel like, during that time, instead of leaning on like that anxious space, I was building this like master resume that was 3 pages long that just talked about all these different skills I had and things that I
Mhm.
had done. Because as I started looking at job postings, I
Yeah.
was like, I'm obviously not applying to every job with this 3 page resume, but I am going to pick pieces from it as I'm reading what the role needs and what the organization is going through. I'm going to pick like, what am I good at that I
Right.
could bring to that organization? And
Hmm.
so it was a really nice way to just kind of like pick things out instead of having to recreate something all over again.
Yeah. And so, what is Heidi up to now?
Oh my goodness. Right now, I'm just starting. I'm really just kind of getting things kicked off. I'm working on this reset program, this framework where people can really kind of recover from the news of a layoff.
Hmm.
And then it gives them the time to reflect on what is it that they're looking for in their next role, and then really redesign it and make sure that as they go into that new position, they know what they want to get out of it and that they're building kind of the strategic network to help them continue to grow
Hmm.
in whether it's, moving into a new role, getting a promotion, whatever it might be.
Nice. How do we learn more about that? Like, how can we help support you in this journey too?
Thank you. LinkedIn. So I'm starting to get active on LinkedIn and then also Substack.
Mm.
Got that tip from a very smart woman. But getting started there, I'm signing up for as many speaking engagements as I can find to really help people identify, how do you build a resume? How do you start to create this plan? What are some
Hmm.
tips you can start to do if you think a layoff is coming, or how
Yeah.
you feel when you survive a layoff? I've been a part of those too. And so really kind of just giving people this really kind of clean layout of what you can do to prepare yourself
Hmm.
if your job situation does change. So been signing up for speaking engagements. I'll post those as they come on LinkedIn and
Good.
Substack, and then networking. Mhm.
So I stalked your LinkedIn profile before, and I really need to know about this beekeeper situation.
Heidi's hives. Yes. You know what? I love honeybees. I should have worn my
Okay.
honeybee earrings. I
You
do.
should have.
Yes, I am having 2 hives. There is going to be, I asked my neighbors, they have 2 little girls, and I'm like, you need to help me name my queens that are
Ooh.
coming in literally like 2 weeks. And we have Queen Beyonce and Queen Cleopatra.
Nice,
Yes.
nice.
So I love it. I love the idea of helping to pollinate. I am not scared of bees at all. So
Hmm.
I was the weirdo that when I see a honeybee, I pet it. And somebody told me, they're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, well,
Yeah.
you just pet them. And they're like, if you're
You
not afraid
don't.
of being stung, there are
Yeah.
things that you could do here. So
Yeah.
yeah, I've been taking classes at the U of M on beekeeping, and
So
Heidi's
you've never
hive.
done this before.
Never done it before. They are starting here in April. They're actually coming in 2 weeks. My husband is home building my bee stand right now.
Okay. Well, you just said you are starting a LinkedIn and Substack. I think you found your content right there.
You know what? I am so excited for everything. Lots of change happening over here. It's
Lots of
my year.
change. I love it. Well, my kids are terrified of bees because all my two kids and my husband got stung by bees. I'm the only one in the family who's never got stung. But I saw that on your LinkedIn. I was like, what is this? I'm gonna have to ask her about this.
Yes. you'll see updates on there. I am so excited to get
I'm
involved.
holding you to that.
Yeah.
You do need to share that. All right. And so the last bit of this podcast is pretty simple. What advice would you share to people who are experiencing a layoff right now or think it's coming?
I would say, just being resilient and trying to focus on the gratitude and the appreciation that you can take from that situation, even if it might be hard to do. Sometimes holding on to those like happy emotions help put those negative ones at bay. And it's not just about bouncing back. It's really about choosing what you want to rebuild. Mm-hmm. And so having that kind of focus on next steps, I think, is so important.
Is there anything else you would like to leave us with?
I don't think so. Just follow me on LinkedIn and you'll see me and all the bees.
I can't wait.
Content.
Well, with that, Heidi, that's it for us today. Short and sweet. And we will chat soon and we'll look for your content on bees.
Great. Thank you so much, Benita.